All right, we're back. Um, Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you're watching this video that I'm recording right now. Class, I guess we have ended our previous discussion with the previous video that I've made about the discussion on what was the world made of, what is the world made of, the composition of the cosmos or the universe or the world. Um, and then the primary substance, the ultimate substance you're looking for. What is really the what's really the world? What's really or how was the world made? That was the first hot topic that has emerged during the time prior Socrates. Kumbaga, I would like to give you an illustration. Um, like for example, there's nag-drive kag motor along the highway and sa unahan nakinakit ang tawong gatapok. And then you didn't know what was going on or what is going on in that certain area nganong naigatapok. Katong gatapok ng mga tao were busy chatting, asking one another. You do not know exactly what they're talking about kay layo pa man ka. But what you can see is they are talking. They are busy talking. And they do not know, you do not know what they're talking about, of course. So, ibutang na to, for example, in the ancient history, I mean, ancient philosophy, Thales, Anaximander, Anaxagoras, um, Heraclitus, Pythagoras, and all those people are like those men nga imong nakita sa unahan nga gatapok. They are busy discussing or somehow arguing, debating. Busy kayo sila. You do not know what, just an example, those people are really into a discussion, a hot discussion. And what they're discussing about, kasi, mao ni siya class, during the setting of the Greece, the setting sa mga Greek philosophers, pag naay issue nga mo arise, usually ang ga-discuss or involved in the discussion are men or were men. So what ang ilahang center, ang ilang place of meeting to discuss those matters is murag tiyangge. Not literally tiyangge, but somehow the setting is like a tiyangge. Kaya naay mga baligya diha, at then naay certain area nga diha sila mag-discuss. Diha sila mag-discuss kung unsay topic, unsay bag-ong issue, unsay ga-arise about politics, about economics, or whatever event is going on. So, moto siya. Ang ikaw nga gapaingon didto, nakadungog ka silang istoryahan, ya busy day silang kaistoryahan na, pangutana, sa question, unsa gudi ay ning kalibutan. Giunsa gidi pagama ning kalibutan. Unsa may primary, unsa may dominante nga nga matter or nga butang nga naa ning kalibutan. So that was the triggering question that they're trying to answer. Ganay ni answer si Thales tubig, Heraclitus fire, which is the influx of change, the constant change. May yun ng author ng that the only constant is change and all like that. Upon hearing it, ikaw nga kapadulong, ikaw si Socrates. So, pagkadungog nimo sa ilang discussion, it seems like not really far out, but somehow their curiosity is more on the nature, the processes of nature, the passing, the passing of life, pagkatao, pagkamatay, pag-aga sa tubig, pagkabuhi sa tanom, ang tunwat mudako o pagkalaya. That was the focus of the discussion. So ikaw nga si Socrates, nikalit kag sulod sa discussion, unya nangutana ka, unsa man gyud ay ideal life? Kamo daw. Sulay do kuno ga-discuss busy kay chismisana imong mga classmates diya sa kilid sa classroom. Gaistoryahan na yun sila wa ka kay baloon sa ilang gistoryahan. Pagkadungog nimo nikalit kag sulod sa ilang discussion ang utana ka og laing topic. Unsa may ilang reaction? So mura sila mututok nimo, o sila kasabot nimo. But somehow this is just only an example, guys. That was it happened. Nag-shift ni Socrates ang discussion into the human person in a specific study that is anthropology, the study about man. So, pag ingon what is an ideal life? Unsa magay angay nga kinabuhi? So, na-trigger sila, syempre na-shift nimo ang discussion into about human person. Unsay maayo nga kinabuhi, unsay angay nga kinabuhi, ug unsa magay maayo nga kinabuhi. That was the question that you're trying, that was Socrates was trying to shift from the natural world into the human person. So those discussion are just part of the ancient philosophy. But I would like to give you further a basic overview about the matter. After the ancient philosophy, by which part of it is Augustine, who mastered or expert about free will. Tagaanta mo gamayng background about free will of Augustine. During this time, he was obliged, his a moral obligation to answer the queries, the, the, the questions regarding the problem of evil. Mayon tag problem of evil is that dunay Dios. Kung dunay man gyud Dios, the question is this, kung naay Dios ba gyud, di ba? Kung dunay man gyud Dios, who is maayo, gamhanan kaayo ug kahibalo sa unsay may tabo sa unahan. So kung naa ning Dios nga maayo, gamhanan, all-knowing, kahibalo sa unsay may tabo sa future. Kung naa ni siya, ihaon tang pugngan ang tanang mga daotang mga nahitabo. What do you think? Kay wa man niya pugngi, it means wala siya ga-exist. Walay Dios. What do you think? That was the question of those who are suffering. Ikaw kuno be, sa imong example, at sa imong scenario, sa imong end. For example, doon na kay pamilya, gugmo love kay nimo imong asawa, doon na may duha ka anak nga love kay nimo buhaton nimong tanan alang kanila. Ug sa kalit lamang nga higayon, girab mo. Doon ay tulo ka tawo nga armado nga ni hold up, ni rob sa inyong panimalay, gikuha inyong properties, and what is the worst? Gipatay mga asawa ng mga anak. Do you think naapaka sa katinuan to ano? To thank God? This is not, this is just only for the sake of discussion. Napaka sa imong katinuan, nakita ni mong kakadugo patay mga asawa ng mga anak to thank God for He is existing, for He is loving, for He is good. What do you think? Or you will be in the position to question the existence of God. Is there really God? Why did He let this happen? Nga mamatay akong asawa, mamatay akong mga anak. For you. During the time of calamity, Yolanda, for example, who claimed not, if not thousands, hundreds of lives. If it happened that you are one of the survivor, sa inyong pamilya, ikaw rin nakasurvive. Ang imuhang tanang properties na destroy or naguba sa bagyo. What do you think? Still, you will be in the position to question if there is really God. Kay kinagmay ra ganin atong pag-antos, mag-question magani ta? Palangga ba ko nimo, Lord? Do you love me? Why did you let this happen to me? Diba? So, those are the problem of evil, the trying to question the existence of God. For Augustine, there is God. God is existing. But the cause of evil is the free will of man. Butangan, balik ta sa example. Katong tulo ka tawo nga armado nga nipatay kunuhay, for example, sa mga sawdo ka anak.
those three men are being presented by two choices. And that two choices is the first is not to rob your property, not to rob your family, and not to kill you most of all. And the second choice, that is to rob you or to kill you out of their needs. Diba? Because of their will, they chose to kill, to rob, to suffice their needs. And what's the dilemma? The dilemma here, guys, the predicament is that those three guys, three armed men, were compelled to do this tragic thing, this grave matter, killing and robbing because of their physical needs, because they are hungry. They are, wala na sila mapakaon sa ilang pamilya nga nag-antosab. Those are the factors that fueled them to do such a tragic thing. Like in the market, doon ay nagkawat og tinapay. That guy who did nga nakawat, stole that bread, was compelled because of hunger. You as an ethicist, for example, you are an ethical person, you are a philosopher. Would you absolve the armed men? Or you if who killed the wife and the children of an innocent person because of their hunger? Diba? Or if you are the man nga nahitabuan, would you forgive them because of such doings, that criminal doings, because of their hunger and suffering? Diba? And in the example for the Yolanda, the natural calamity, sir, wala man tayo labot na, wa man na nato, dili man na nato decision nga may tabo na. Oo, tinuod, dili nato na decision nga may tabo na, but we are the one who caused it. The nature in its dynamic, sa iyang paglihok isip kinaiyahan, usahay, magmalfunction na kay giguba naman nato. Niputol taglinibo ka mga kahoy, atong gihiguan ng mga dagat. Supposedly, ang mga kahoy may mohold sa kuan, sa yuta, aron dili magka-landslide. Ang tubig, ang suba, mo'y mugiya sa tubig, atong giblakingan. Gigamaan na to mga bridges. I'm not saying that bridges is useless, but somehow, usahay may mo siyang blockage pag dako kayong tubig. But the cause of pagdako sa tubig is the accumulated water. And that accumulated water, nagdala usab og mga eroded soil. Eroded soil nga nagpadako sa volume sa water because tungod po sa yuta nga way na nagpugo nga kahoy. So pagbaha, naglunop tungod kay dili na makontrol ang tubig. Kay wala na enough trees nga mo-hold sa yuta o mo-absorb sa tubig. And then, on those other areas of the world nga nagpa-cause sa global warming is pagsunog sa linibuan ka hektarya ka mga kuan, kagubatan. Ang ato ang paglabay lamang sa tong basura, we are not respecting a very common rule nga gitagaan tag basurahan nga atong ibutang atong basura, we cannot do it. That was the focus of Augustine, that the evil things happening around was not because of God, that because of free will that was given to us. Kay nga saon na lang, og we are not free to choose. Di ba? Anyway, di na ako na siya palagman because we are not philosophy majors. Let's proceed to, after the ancient is the medieval philosophy, the study of God and about God and everything about God. The existence of God, proving about the existence of God and all. Na si Anselm, na si Thomas Aquinas, Bonaventure, and others who also deny the existence of God. Then, towards the modern philosophy, na silang kuan in the Renaissance period, silang Kant, René Descartes, René Descartes who said the famous cognito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Iyang gidoubt nga ang tanan wala ni mag-exist. Illusion raning tanan. So iyang gi-prove nga nag-exist og dili illusion. Ang ako ang kaugalingon. Ningon siya, dili na ko ma-deny nga doon na ko'y utok nga naghuna-huna. Kamo, namo mo'y utok nga naghuna-huna? Wala. Di ba? Do you think, ningon siya, ang dili na ko ma-deny is na ko'y utok nga naghuna-huna. So ningon siya, kay naghuna-huna man ko, nga dili na ko ma-deny nga wala ni mag-exist, kay naghuna-huna mayogo, therefore, nag-exist ko. So ningon siya, cognito ergo sum, I think, naghuna-huna ko, therefore, I exist. Therefore, I am. So, wala siya kay René Descartes. The contemporary philosophers, that is the widening of the branches of philosophy and all, daghan kini-invent nga types of idealism, realism, daghan na kayo pragmatism, the two schools of thought, the empiricism, rationalism, and all. So, di na natin siya pakuan kay ugay na na. So, I will proceed to the next juncture where exactly ethics has started. But first, I would like to give you um, a scenario or the difference. I give you an insight. What's the difference between ethics and morality? What is morals and ethics? Ang morality is more on the inside. Let me give you an example first. Sa philosophy, there are two major schools of thought: the rationalism and um, the empiricism. Rationalism is more on reasoning. You learn by reasoning, while ang empiricism, you learn by experience. There is ethics and morality. Um, ang maingon tag moral, it's more on um, and there's another two examples, guys, aside from the rationalism and empiricism. There's also what we call objectivism, and relativism. Objectivism is more on the experience, and relativism, no, objectivism is more on the experience, the facts that is presented, yun ang pagkatinuod, while relativism is nagdepende sa imuhang gibate. If you believe that it's true, that it's true. But if someone believes that it's not true, that's also not true according to his perspective. That's relative. While the other is dogmatism and liberalism. Dogmatism is more on unchangeable. Mao gini siya, di gani siya mausob. While ang liberalism, it's more connected to relativism. Nga nagdepende lagi sa ato ang gibate. Respective belief, kumbaga. Ang ethics is more on relativism. While ang morals is more on dogmatism. Di ko na siya mausop. For ethics, it's a code of moral standards of conduct for what is good and right as opposed to what is bad or wrong. Let me just elucidate first what is moral. Ang moral standards, mo na siya ang pinakabasihan sa morality. Code of moral standards. While, like for example, ato ni siyang ihatagaan sa og definition. Ang kuan man gud guys, ang morals is more on the rules, the commandments that is being imposed by a certain community. Kumbaga, sa Norso, bawal ka mosulod nga magtiniil unless if na ka injury sa tiil. Di ba? So, dili na siya mausob if dili na siya i-amend of the higher body. But for the meantime that there's no amendment, it will not change. That is the rule of the school. While for Silliman University, you can go inside, sa chinelas pa ka o short ka, that is relativism. There different rule here, different rules sa Silliman. But for moral standards, nag nag-conclude ta og usa ka measuring rod kung unsa magiangay para sa tanan. Kani bang magsapatos ta mag-eskwela or kaning dili? But that is not applicable to all. But at least we have a moral standard. While ang ethic is more on um it is values driven and it is considered ethical, can vary across cultures. So kani siya magdepende usab ni siya sa kultura. Um, it arises a test of personal ethics and values. So again, ang moral is more on your belief what is good and what is bad. While ethics, it is the study of morals. Ato na siyang tagaan in the next discussion, the following discussion, the future discussions class. What are the others' perspective to look on a certain scenario kung unsa gay angay? Kay doon na tayo ginatawag nga Kantianism, doon na po tayo ginatawag nga utilitarianism. Kantianism is according, paglantaw na to sa usa ka butang according to duty or according to usefulness sa iyang pagkagamit. Like for example, this is just only, you know, mura na siya patilaw, a glimpse. For example, dunay kabantay mo ng train mag-agi man na og kuan iyang dalan. So murag sa unahan gadagan ang tren sa unahan dunay gaway nga iyang agian. Paingon siya ang iyang default nga ano nga agian is paingon sa tuo. Sa tuo niya na sa unahan dunay 5 ka tawo nga for some reason nagapos didto. Siguro gitripan. So dunay 5 ka tawo nagapos didto. And then sa wala, dunay usa ka tawo nga nagapos sa dalan. And then kung ang ikaw nga naa diha, you have the choice. Ang train is default by default paingon sa tuo nga dunay 5 ka tawo nga nagapos. Ikaw na kay kuan, na kay choice nga pwede nimong i-move ang katong um katawag ana sort of a bar nga iron bar nga pag imo i-move mo change ang route sa tren into sa wala. Unsa man imong choice? I-sacrifice nimo ang sagdaan nimo nga ang tren muligis sa 5 or i-save nimo ang 5 in exchange of one life. For example. So for usefulness, syempre, timbang-timbangon nimo siya in utilitarianism aspect, timbang-timbangon nimo siya according sa gidaghanon. Daghan man ang tawo, usa ra to speaka, so i-save nako kung irugon ang bar. Then na-save ang 5, patay ang usa. For duty, balag 5 pa na siya usa, it doesn't matter. What matters is it is evil if I will do something. Ngay kamatay sa usa. So let it be, let it be. Sagday ang trend yan, patay sa 5, at least wala ko'y gihimo. Di ba? Nga makapatay og tao. Iyahan man na sa trend, iyahan man ang default nga kuan, di ba? Sort of like that, but still you will be guilty. Anyway, that's the glimpse into perspectives on looking into a certain thing. So let's go back. So Socrates, um, so he was first interested in natural science, and then appealed to siya whether the earth is flat or not. But he was not satisfied with the result of his research, so he abandoned the study of natural science and turned to the study of human life. So what was siya satisfied siyang answer? So, iyang question is, katong unsa mga ideal life? Are you living a life worth living? Di ba? In teaching method, Socrates did not use spoon feeding method but dialogue questions and answers. So mo na yung kwan, usually, pag na-question, yung tubagon, then siya na po yung question, tubagon na po sa iyahang students. Socrates liked using examples of daily affairs to enlighten his students. Yan yung connect into reality para makasabot. So, iyaha is that to lead, um, educare, Latin word, to lead like a midwife, helping the mother to give birth to her baby. So his belief nga siya as if the educator, his role is to lead the students like a midwife helping the mother to give birth to her baby para ma-accomplish niya, ma-attain niya yung knowledge, higher knowledge. Socrates' divine mission was to expose the ignorance of those who thought themselves wise. Apology is considered as a work of Socrates but was written by Plato. It was Socrates' speech to the jury for his own defense in its trial. Ipasanginlan maguni siya nga nag iyang gi hiluan ang hunahuna sa mga batanon because tapos so get into trial siya una siya nga naa siya apology is not really asking for sorry that you are sorry for. Apology in the Greek word, it is a form of defense. So at the end of the story, the lion asked Prince Caspian if he was ready to be king. This is the other topic. um, Prince Caspian answered modestly that he was still a child only. The wisdom is, those who thought themselves ready usually are not ready because they are too proud or they thought too highly of themselves. On the contrary, those who are modest, kumbaga humble, they are probably close to be ready. So you might have something to think about it. What did Socrates really know? What do I know? Socrates did not claim to know anything. So wag siya nagproclamar nga naa siya nahibalan. Socrates did not think he knew a lot. But the Delphi's oracle, katong mga oracle, kumbaga sa Greek, sa Greece, doon na sila mga oracle katong mga virgins nga mo predict sa future. Ningon sila, no one is wiser than Socrates. Probably Socrates knew that he was ignorant, but the others did not know that they were ignorant. So what Socrates knew that he was ignorant, but the others did not know that they were ignorant. So kato na nagpakaroon ng naibalo, sila na way nasayod nga sila mo ignorante. Right. So iyang form of literary or literacy is more on dialogue, asking question and answer. Um, for him, the greatest power on earth is the power of reflection. Siya mo'y author sa niingon nga know thyself, examine thyself. So in 399 BC, Athenian citizens accused Socrates of heresy, impiety, because they're believing during that time, they are believing on a multiple gods. But Socrates is claiming or preaching, or kumbaga tudlo siya yung students, nga there might be somebody, or some other gods, nga wala na belong sa ilang gods. And they did not, and he did not believe or observe the gods of the polis. The polis is public. Mo na siya gituuhan sa kadaghanan, gi-observe or gi-practice kadaghanan. Aristotle thought, Socrates is a revolutionary thinker. He did not believe or observe the gods of the polis. Katong ilang sila ni Athena, Zeus, um, si Zeus, the god of hell and the god of sea, di ba? Mawala na siya nito na. Then he was accused also of who corrupted the minds of the youth. According to J. Grove, at the time of his trial and execution in 399 BC, Socrates was 70 years of age. He had lived through the Periclean age when Athens was the pinnacle of her imperial power. Greece was a powerful nation before. And her cultural ascendancy, then through 25 years of war with Sparta, and the final defeat of Athens in 405, the oligarchic revolution that followed, and finally the restoration of democracy. His mission, which he explains in the Apology, was to expose the ignorance of those who thought themselves wise and to try to convince his fellow citizens that everyone is responsible for his own moral attitudes. Very revolutionary. Imagine mo, in our context today, the followers of the DDS and the Yellow Tars, kumbaga, there are also, aside from their groups, there are also people who are critical thinkers, who doesn't just believe what the DDS believe. or doesn't necessarily believe to what the yellow tards believe or believes. So Socrates during this time is kumbaga he go against the odds. He go against the current of time. Kumbaga flow ang water, he go against the current. So iyang expose katong nga nagpakaron ingnon nga mga wise and not ignorant, iyang expose through his speeches. And that he convinced, iyang gipa-realize sa mga tao that each of us are responsible for our own doings, our moral behaviors, our actions. So that's very revolutionary. So ikaw mahimo ba na nimo in your classroom if na halos na nagpabuyag ikaw ray wala to go against them or else makontra nimo silang tanan, di ba? That's very revolutionary. That's that why in the end, not surprisingly, Socrates was often confused with the sophist in the public mind, for both of them were apt to question established and inherited values. So, values yung gina-patronize. But their differences were vital. The sophists professed to put men on the road to success and to teach people rhetoric or how to argue with no moral responsibility as long as the sophists got paid. So, for money, dahil yung mga sophists. Whereas Socrates disclaimed that he thought anything. His conversation aimed at discovering the truth, at acquiring that knowledge and understanding of life and its values that he thought was the very basis of the good life, and of philosophy to him a moral as well as an intellectual pursuit. So, good life and of philosophy to him is a moral as well as an intellectual pursuit. So, magpinabuhi dahil maayong kinabuhi, o pagtuon, pagdiscover sa mga butang that will lead us to truth is all not only a moral but also an intellectual pursuit. So mo to siya ang life ni Socrates. Somehow it's very detailed, taas-taas siya, but I will not give you the whole thing about it. But that was the first, but that was the first, kumbaga, that was the opening door to the study of ethics, to the study of human person. And then later on, Aristotle has more to say, but I will give that another video because that's kind of long. I want it detailed para makahibalo mo or you will have a background or ideas what is Nicomachean ethics about. So for now, that is all. I hope you learned something about the history, about especially the stages of philosophy, and then some basic knowledge about those things, and also most of all about the life and the teachings of Socrates.